You ever feel like no one really notices the little things you do for someone? That's exactly how it feels when a good man is hurt. Quietly, patiently, and completely. And the moment he leaves, you realize. The emptiness he leaves behind speaks louder than anything you ever said or did. Imagine this. Late at night, you're scrolling through your phone when a message pops up. One you've read 100 times but never replied to. Your thumb hovers over it, hesitating. You remember the man who sent it. The one who stayed calm when everyone else walked away. The one who never made things messy. The one whose patience felt endless. You feel a tight knot in your chest, that quiet ache that creeps in when memory meets reality. Suddenly the excuses you made, the choices you thought were harmless, they don't feel so harmless anymore. You realize you didn't notice him when he was right there, doing the small things that actually meant everything. If you've lived this, you already know the feeling, the slow, sinking regret that hits in the silence of your own thoughts. It's that moment when you ask yourself, why did I take him for granted? Why didn't I see it before it was gone? And that's exactly what we're exploring today. The regrets women carry after hurting a good man and the fear that follows. Because the truth is, it's not just about what was lost. It's about the echo of that loss in every quiet corner of your life. The kind of regret that whispers, even years later, I wish I had valued him when I had the chance. By the time regret sets in, it's often too late. Many women only realize what they truly had after it's gone. The quiet strength, the steady presence, the unwavering support of a good man. This isn't about blame. It's about understanding the moments we overlook, the gestures we dismiss, and the patience we take for granted. Today, we're going to explore 5 regrets that women often feel after hurting a good man, and the one fear that follows, the fear that they may never be able to make things right. These aren't assumptions or cliches. These insights come from thousands of real behaviors, countless stories, and experiences that reveal a truth most of us can relate to. We'll look at how these regrets quietly build up over time, how they show up in everyday life, and why they hit so deeply when reflection comes. By the end of this video, you'll understand not only what women regret, but also why these moments matter, and why a good man's absence echoes far louder than anyone expects. If you've ever felt the weight of a lost opportunity, this is going to resonate. And even if you haven't, it will give you a window into what it truly means to hurt someone who only ever gave their best. Good men often go unnoticed, not because they are unremarkable, but because their strength is quiet. They show up without fanfare. They remain calm when chaos surrounds them, and they give stability in ways that are easy to overlook. A steady hand, a kind word, a predictable routine. These are the things that make life smoother, safer, and somehow better. Yet they often fade into the background until they're gone. Think about it. The man who wakes early to make coffee, notices when something is wrong without being asked, or quietly supports your dreams without seeking praise, he doesn't complain. He doesn't demand recognition. And because of this, it's easy to mistake his consistency for something ordinary, even boring. Some people confuse peace with lack of excitement, stability with a lack of passion. But the truth is, when a good man leaves, the silence he leaves behind is deafening. The morning routine he quietly maintained, the little gestures he made that felt invisible, suddenly become glaringly absent. And that's when regret sets in. The moments we didn't appreciate, the reliability we dismissed, the patience we assumed would never end. They hit like a shockwave. Have you ever taken someone's consistency for granted? Most of us have, at some point, and most of us have felt that hollow ache when we realize what we lost. Understanding why good men are often hurt the most helps us see the depth of their value, and sets the stage for the regrets that follow. Because once that quiet strength leaves, it rarely returns in the same way, and the lessons arrive far too late. Regret often begins with small, seemingly insignificant moments, the quiet gestures that go unnoticed until they're gone. He was always there, not with grand displays, but with simple, meaningful acts. Every morning he would leave a cup of coffee just the way she liked it. He remembered the little details, her favourite book, the way she liked her blanket tucked in, the songs that made her smile. He never asked for thanks, never demanded recognition, He simply gave day after day, expecting nothing in return. And she took it all for granted. She noticed the big fights, the disagreements, the moments when he fell short. But she overlooked the countless times he went above and beyond, quietly holding things together. Sometimes she even misread his kindness as weakness, thinking, he's too soft, he won't stand up for himself. She didn't realize that his patience, his calm, his constant support was the strongest thing she would ever have. It's only later, in the quiet hours when she's alone with her thoughts, that the truth hits. She recalls the mornings she rushed out the door without a word, the times she complained about small things while ignoring his efforts, the nights she left him waiting for appreciation he never asked for. And now the memory weighs heavily, because she understands that kindness isn't passivity, it's strength. It's a foundation built of trust, care, and consistent love, and once that foundation is gone, it cannot simply be rebuilt. Psychologically, people assume a good man will always be there. They believe his patience is endless, his love unconditional, his presence permanent. That assumption is human, but it's also dangerous. Stability, kindness, and reliability are often invisible until they are absent, and the absence hits harder than any visible mistake ever could. So, take a moment to reflect. Have you ever overlooked the quiet acts of someone who gave everything without asking for anything in return? Have you assumed their love was guaranteed, only to realize too late how rare and valuable it truly was? Because understanding this regret is the first step in recognizing the treasure that good men are and the consequences of dismissing it. Sometimes what feels exciting in the moment can cost the most in the long run. She wanted adventure, novelty, the rush of attention that made her feel alive. Every flirtation, every impulsive choice, every fun distraction seemed thrilling, until the thrill faded. Meanwhile, the man who offered real depth, quiet stability, and unwavering support was always there, waiting, patient, steady, and consistent. He didn't shout for her attention. He didn't dazzle with temporary excitement. He simply built a life beside her, step by step, day by day. And because that kind of presence doesn't create fireworks, it's easy to overlook, easy to undervalue. Social media made everything feel bigger, brighter, faster. Friends cheered on impulsive choices. She got caught in the euphoria of the moment, believing excitement was the same as love. But excitement is fleeting. It leaves behind a hangover of emptiness, a quiet space that the thrill can never fill. Character, loyalty, and depth don't vanish in the same way. They remain, solid, waiting to be recognized. And when she finally notices it's too late to reclaim what she ignored, she looks around, alone, and feels the weight of choices made for short-term pleasure instead of lasting value. It's in those quiet, lonely moments, the nights when the city's asleep and there's no one left to entertain her distractions, that regret hits hardest. The man who was patient, who was kind, who was steady, is no longer an option. And suddenly, she understands that what she chased was temporary, while what she ignored was enduring. Ask yourself, have you ever been so captivated by excitement that you overlooked someone who offered real stability? Have you ever chosen a spark over a steady flame, only to realize that the fire that burns brightest can also burn out fastest? Because recognizing this regret is a step toward understanding the true value of someone who stays when everything else fades. Sometimes, the deepest regrets come not from mistakes, but from misunderstandings. He never raised his voice. He didn't rush to argue or insist on being right. He listened. He waited. He offered calm solutions when tempers flared, and she misread it. She thought his silence meant indifference, his patience meant passivity, and his composure meant he didn't care. A small conflict, maybe a forgotten plan or a missed detail, escalated in her mind. She reacted sharply, saying things she didn't fully mean, letting frustration guide her words. He responded with calm, with reason, with a quiet attempt to explain. But in that moment, she interpreted his steadiness as coldness, as lack of emotion, and the distance began to grow. What should have been a conversation became a wall. What should have been understanding became mistrust. It's only later, long after the argument is forgotten, that she realizes the truth. He wasn't the problem. His intentions were always clear. rooted in care and consistency. It was her assumptions, her misinterpretations that created the rift. Emotional safety, the kind a calm, patient man offers, is rare and easy to undervalue. It's easy to mistake stillness for apathy, quiet strength for weakness. When she finally understands, regret arrives with a heavy weight. She thinks back to the moments she judged him too quickly, the times she assumed the worst, the words she wishes she could take back. The realization cuts deeper than any fight. The person she misjudged wasn't cold, distant, or uncaring. He was exactly the kind of man who deserved understanding, trust, and patience. Take a moment to reflect. Have you ever misread someone's calm as a lack of care? Have you ever let assumptions overshadow the quiet intentions of someone who only ever tried to give their best? Because recognizing this regret is crucial to understanding the heartbreak that comes from misjudging someone who truly had your back. Loyalty is one of the quietest gifts a person can give, and often the one we fail to notice until it's gone. He was always there through the little and the big challenges. When she was sick and exhausted, he brought her tea without complaint. When stress mounted at work or life felt overwhelming, he offered support without ever making her feel like a burden. When money was tight, he found ways to keep life steady, never drawing attention to his sacrifices. He forgave mistakes, not once or twice, but again and again, choosing her repeatedly, even when she didn't make it easy. Loyalty isn't flashy. It doesn't scream for attention. It's the quiet act of standing by someone when the world isn't, and that quiet strength is what makes a good man irreplaceable. She remembers a day when someone else criticized her harshly, and he defended her without hesitation. He didn't argue loudly or boast about his support. He simply made it clear that he would always have her back. In that moment, she felt protected in a way she had never experienced before. Looking back, she realizes how rare that kind of loyalty is. Few people would fight silently for her, forgive repeatedly, or stay steady when life became complicated. It's only after he's gone that she understands the truth. Loyalty feels ordinary, even boring, until it disappears. And once it's gone, no amount of regret can recreate the sense of safety and trust that loyalty provided. The small, consistent choices, the everyday commitment, they weren't just gestures. They were the foundation of something rare, something lasting, something she now wishes she had recognized sooner. Ask yourself for a moment, have you ever overlooked the quiet loyalty of someone who stayed, forgave, and protected you day after day? Most of us have. And when we finally notice, the ache of lost loyalty reminds us that the most dependable love is often the one we take for granted. Some of the heaviest regrets come from the words we never say. She sits with her phone in her hand, drafting a message that could change everything. "I'm sorry," she types, then deletes, then retypes, unsure of the right tone, the right words, the right timing. Hours pass, days pass, and eventually he moves on, quietly, without anger, without drama, but with a calm acceptance that the distance between them has grown too wide. The psychology is simple, yet powerful. People fear looking vulnerable, admitting fault, asking for forgiveness, exposing weakness. It's uncomfortable, even terrifying. Pride keeps us from speaking up. Ego convinces us that timing isn't right or that it can wait. But in reality, apologies delayed are apologies denied. Every moment we wait, every pause we take out of fear, builds a wall of silence between us and the person we've hurt. And that silence becomes heavy. It grows. It fills rooms with unspoken words, shadows conversations that never happen, and lingers in memories long after the moment has passed. She realizes too late that a simple, heartfelt apology could have made all the difference. She didn't need perfection. She didn't need the perfect timing. She needed honesty, sincerity, and courage. Things she only understands now, in the echo of absence. Take a moment to reflect. Have you ever held back an apology because of fear, pride, or uncertainty? That hesitation, as small as it seems, can change the course of relationships. Recognizing this regret is more than feeling guilt. It's understanding the value of humility, the power of saying, "I'm sorry," and the cost of waiting until it's too late. Because some lessons are only learned when silence has already built a wall that no words can easily break. After all the regrets, there is one fear that lingers longer than any of them. It's the quiet, relentless thought. What if the next man doesn't love me the same? She begins to understand something she never wanted to admit. Good men are rare. Not flashy, not dramatic, not always noticed, but rare. The kind of man who loves patiently, stays steadily, and chooses again and again, even when it's hard, is not easily replaced. And now she wonders if she pushed him away, if her choices or her impatience damaged the one person who truly saw her, someone who valued her in ways she didn't fully appreciate at the time. Fear creeps in slowly. She watches glimpses of him moving forward in life. Perhaps she sees him laughing with someone new, someone who notices the little things he does, someone who appreciates the patience, the reliability, the small daily gestures she once dismissed. And suddenly she feels the weight of loss amplified. Not only is he gone, but the certainty that she may never feel that kind of love again. Regret grows louder with age. Memories don't fade, they sharpen. The small missteps, the moments of dismissal, the words she never said, they echo with clarity. And with each passing day, the fear of ending up alone becomes more real. It isn't just about missing him. It's about the knowledge that she may have broken the very thing she most needed to hold on to: trust, respect, and the unique bond that only a good man can offer. She questions herself silently. Did I push away the one who would have stayed? Did I take for granted the rarest kind of love? These questions carry a heaviness that no apology can immediately fix, and no amount of reflection can entirely erase. And this is the fear that lingers long after the heartbreak, long after the regrets. The fear that she may never again find someone who sees her, values her, and chooses her the way he did. It's a fear that doesn't shout, but whispers in quiet moments, reminding her that some losses are permanent and some lessons arrive too late to undo the past. While regrets and fears weigh heavily on those who remain, good men have their own way of healing, quietly, with dignity, and with intention. They don't seek revenge or dramatic displays. Instead, they retreat into silence, allowing themselves the space to process, reflect, and protect their own hearts. Silence becomes their ally, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. They rebuild their lives carefully, step by step. They focus on what matters: growth, boundaries, and relationships that honor them in return. Every act of self-care, every choice to walk away from what no longer serves them, strengthens their sense of worth. And in this process, they create a distance that cannot be easily crossed. It's not about punishment, it's about preservation. The man who once offered patience, understanding, and unwavering support no longer feels the need to remain where his efforts were undervalued. And here lies the truth. Once a good man finally lets go, it is final. He may forgive in his heart, but he does not forget. The lessons he has learned, the respect he maintains for himself, and the boundaries he sets become part of who he is, a version of himself that cannot be reclaimed by those who fail to see his value. For anyone watching, the message is clear. Good men don't disappear out of spite. They disappear out of self-preservation. They heal, they grow, and they move forward. And in doing so, they leave behind the echoes of their presence, the quiet proof of what was lost, and a reality that some opportunities once gone will never return. Regret can be heavy, but it also carries an opportunity, a chance to act with honesty, humility, and care. If you find yourself wishing you could turn back time, the first step is a sincere apology. Not a vague sorry or a half-hearted message, but a heartfelt acknowledgement of the ways your actions or words caused hurt. Next comes accountability. Accept the choices you made and the role you played in the pain that occurred. Avoid making excuses or shifting blame. Taking responsibility is powerful not only for the person you hurt, but for your own growth. Patience is essential. Healing doesn't happen instantly, and the person you hurt may need time and space to process. Respecting boundaries is equally important, showing that you understand their need for distance and that your intentions are genuine, not coercive. And finally, accept the possibility that he may not come back. True remorse doesn't demand a reunion. It accepts reality and prioritizes respect for the other person's autonomy. Even if reconciliation isn't possible, these actions can bring clarity, maturity, and peace. They show that you've learned from your mistakes, that you understand the value of the person you lost, and that you're committed to acting differently in the future. Regret doesn't have to define you. Your response to it does. Life often teaches its hardest lessons in silence. We realize too late that the people who gave us calm, patience, and unwavering care were treasures we barely recognized. Their presence felt ordinary until the moment it was gone, leaving a quiet echo that lingers far longer than we expect. Regret isn't just about lost moments. It's about understanding the value of steadiness, loyalty, and love that never demanded attention. It's about the quiet power of someone who chose you repeatedly, who forgave, supported, and believed in you when no one else did. As you reflect on these lessons, remember this: life is too short to overlook those who protect your peace. Treasure the ones who stay, who show up without needing praise, and who make the world feel safer simply by being present. Guard them fiercely, appreciate them deeply, and never wait until it's too late to honor the quiet, unwavering love that makes life truly meaningful. Now, we want to hear from you. Which of these regrets resonates with you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if this video touched you or someone you know, don't forget to share it. It might help someone understand the value of a good man.